In the previous episode, I mentioned the calendar as a separator between your planned and unplanned time. In other words, only obligations, meetings, booked events, and other routines should be represented to alleviate your mind from the dreaded feeling of keeping track of these. The rest of the time should remain blank to allow for spontaneous time. That is very important. However, you need to place a calendar almost in your face every day to become useful, to see whenever an event is happening or going to happen, or if it's free time, we can just roam around and do whatever you want. It's important that you get the definitions and distinctions straight, because otherwise you will forget its existence when you need it the most. By placing it on your home screen on your phone, you will have a glance every time you switch between apps. I've written a more thorough guide, in which I will link in the description, on how to set up the calendar, but I'm going to show you right now the key actions. Step 1, select your calendar, most likely Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook Calendar, and or iCal. These are the most popular ones by far. Step 2, in the Settings app, you go to Calendar, then click Accounts. Step 3, sign into your Google or Microsoft account. Allow it to sync, and it will, after a couple of minutes, show everything you need in terms of events and stuff. And for iCal, it's their calendar if you want to use the iPhone, so you don't need to do anything there. But now the most important part is Widget, because Widget allows you to be constantly reminded of when your obligations, meetings, and events occur, because it's on the home screen. So step 4, and if you're an iPhone user, press and hold any apps in 2 seconds until they start to dance. Then click on the upper right plus sign. And if you're an Android user, then you press and hold on the home screen until the widget buttons shows up. Step 5, scroll through a list of available widgets until you see the calendar of your choice. And for iPhone, I recommend the built-in calendar. It has the best widgets, according to me. And for Android users, I've written some confessions about the best calendar widgets I could find myself. But the built-in calendar and Google Calendar is the best options if you want to go with a free alternative. Step 6, when you click the desired widget, you scroll sideways until you find the best view of the same app, preferably ones showing spaces in between events, which is why I like the built-in iPhone calendar, because it truly represents the calendar that you normally see in the app. So therefore you can kind of have the same resemblance and see like, okay, now I have this much unplanned time and I can use that to determine the next action that I wanted to do. Last one, step 7, click add widget and the widget will appear. Place it on your home screen so it is the first thing you look at every time you check your phone. And that is very important. And if you want to integrate your Google and Outlook calendars together, for instance, when you're using your computer, I've linked an amazing guide according to me in the show notes. And if you prefer to use a physical calendar, be mentally prepared to carry it around and look at it religiously. Otherwise, use your phone. So now I'm going to tell you how to input and adjust events. For inputting events, press and hold an empty area on the phone and drag the event to the correct time. Name the event and confirm. If a certain event, for instance, daily work tasks, is occurring, you want to repeat the event as well. If there are many small tasks in which you use a task manager, I strongly recommend you batch them together in one recurring event. You do not even need to name the event for ease of use, because whenever you don't name an event, it usually shows up as new event, and you can interpret new events like, okay, new event means that I check my obligatory tasks and do them. So you can have this heuristic in order to make it easy for yourself, which is what's most important, to make it as easy as possible. Whenever you feel you need to input a new event or adjust existing ones, you do it right then. Therefore, you do not need to have a dedicated session to so-called plan your day, but you just adjust whenever you need to. So when I feel like, okay, now it is a change on in 3 days, then I drag it right down. So it's constant adjustments, continuous improvement, as you can see. And the most important is that the calendar reflects your current plan to use your executive time. Because once again, the intuitive time, the spontaneous time is unplanned. That is by design. And in practice, you do not need to adjust your calendar that often. So you don't have to worry about the pressure. Because routines and set events rarely change. For example, I write my articles and I record these videos and episodes and work at Amazon at fixed times. And it's not very often that these change. And I only adjust them when necessary. And the same goes for my workout and bedtime routines as well, because when they are on autopilot, then it's much easier to kind of be adjusted to them. And by the way, as a side note, if you want to be consistent, then you want to have repeated events that you have convinced yourself that it's the best time to do them and do them at all, and execute them just like you would in any other calendar appointment. By having this explicit accountability to you, then you will truly make it stick, which is what I preach in the habits articles as well, which you can check out. So in conclusion, you can effortlessly slide into your repeated autopilot schedule and feel a great sense of peace and hyper focus when the event comes, because now there is no debate. It's like, okay, it says that I'm going to do this, so therefore I do it. So there is no need for internal hesitation. And when the calendar is blank, you can do whatever you feel like in the moment. Be free.